So awesome. Welcome everyone. I am Kimberly King from Consulting Services by King and Associates Limited, and today I am very excited to have with me Kyle. Kyle is the senior inbound sales professor at HubSpot. I'm all for Team HubSpot. So Kyle, please introduce yourself and tell us what really does it mean to be a professor at HubSpot? And how did you get here? An awesome job, I assume, as well.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Kyle Jepson. Like you said, I'm a professor at HubSpot Academy. So HubSpot, of course, has a CRM and marketing automation and other tools to help your company grow. And then HubSpot Academy is our educational arm, and we create a lot of trainings to support those tools. And as the sales professor, I teach all things related to sales. So some of that is, of course, tutorials for how to use HubSpot CRM and sales tools, but some of it is also just general sales best practices that anyone can use, even if HubSpot is not their software of choice. And we really are focused on helping small and mid-sized businesses grow. So if you are in that space, definitely check out HubSpot Academy, and there's something there to help you, even if you don't use HubSpot. But of course, I would love for you to use HubSpot, so I can teach you to do that too. To answer your question about how I got here, it's kind of a winding journey. Um, I always wanted to be a professor at a university. I fell in love with school when I was a university student. I was studying linguistics, and my plan was always to go on to graduate school and get a PhD and live in the ivory tower and research and teach and all of that. Um, but while I was an undergrad, I got married, and my wife was a year behind me in school. So instead of going to grad school immediately, I just took a sales job at a technology company that was very nearby where we had been going to school. Um, and I loved it. I got to do sales for a little while. I got to do customer success for a little while. I got to found their technical support team, and I was just having so much fun. I ended up staying there almost 3 years instead of the 1 year I had planned on. But graduate school and being a professor was still the dream. So we packed up. We lived in Utah at the time, and we moved to Boston, which is where I now live, so I could get a master's degree in linguistics and fulfill my dream. But after 3 years of being in the technology space, especially in that startup space where everything is so fluid and changing and fast paced, to then go to higher ed where it's all very rigid and there are rules and there are you have to have permission to do stuff. It was very jarring, and I loved continuing my learning about linguistics, but I quickly learned this was not where I wanted to spend my career. But we fell in love with Boston. We wanted to stay here. So I looked around for technology companies in the Boston area, quickly found HubSpot and fell in love with it, and joined as a customer support representative. This was the summer of 2015. HubSpot had just launched its CRM system about a year before, and there was this dedicated support team just for the CRM. And that's the team I was on. So I was helping people learn to use this new product. We were getting a lot of feedback from them because it was a new product and there were lots of things that needed to be fixed and perfected. Um, and I did that for a few months, and then the CEO of the company, Brian Halligan, one of the founders of HubSpot, said we can't do this anymore. At the time, the CRM had its own support team, its own sales team, its own engineering team that was separate from everything else. He said we've got to unify and be a single company. We're going to have one support team, we're going to have one sales team, we're going to have one engineering team. And oh, by the way, HubSpot Academy is now going to teach courses about sales and CRM. And the people who were on HubSpot Academy at the time had only ever taught marketing topics, and they had no idea how to teach these things. And so they reached out to my manager and said, "Hey, is there anyone on your team you think could teach this stuff?" And he said, "Well, Kyle did a little bit of sales, and I know he wanted to be a professor, so he might be a good fit." And so I got to interview for the job, and I got it. And since early 2016, that's what I've been doing full time is teaching people sales and CRM. HubSpot CRM has grown up a lot in those 5 years. It's now a fully grown CRM system that can do really anything you need a CRM to do. And I'm just having so much fun teaching people how to use it and how to succeed in sales.
Wow, so you see that your dream can come true. It just takes
Yeah.
a different format, really a different road. That's an amazing story, Kyle. I never knew that. But definitely when I look at your videos, you are always very excited by what you are giving your tutoring on or what you're teaching, which is an awesome thing. When I looked at your bio, you had mentioned that you help to transform the way that businesses sell through your educational content. How does that, in terms of how does HubSpot do that for entrepreneurs, you will say, from your experience?
Yeah, so HubSpot, we sell software. That's how we make our money, obviously. But all of our software is built around this idea of inbound, which is a way of growing your business by building relationships with the people you do business with. We're very firm believers that companies and their customers need to have a friendly relationship. A lot of times companies see their customers in almost an adversarial way where we're trying to get as much money out of you for as little work as possible,
Same.
and that
Mhm.
is just that's not going to work long term, especially in the modern world. you know Customers are very much empowered to go online and leave reviews, or to on social media tell their friends if they had a good experience or a bad experience. And if you had a good experience with a company, you tell all your friends, and then your friends go buy from that company too. And if you are that company that's giving people these delightful experiences and they're so happy they're telling their friends, suddenly it becomes much easier for you to sell, right? You don't have to tell people, you don't have to convince them to try your product. People come to you, they say, hey, my friend who I've known all this time said you're a great company, and I wanted to know more. Right? And what a great way to start a sales conversation, as opposed to the old fashioned way of, I'm going to call you up and I'm going to take your time and I'm going to convince you need to buy this thing. Um, and and honestly, the opposite is true too, right? If people are telling social media or their friends or their networks in whatever way, um, I had a miserable experience. I really felt like they were taking advantage of me. There were all these fees I didn't expect. They were very dishonest in their expectations. Well, now it's going to be a lot harder for you to sell, right? Your initial conversations with people are always going to be overcoming that reputation. And as we get more connected as a society, especially a global society, there's nowhere for companies to hide, right? You
Mhm.
have to treat your customers in a human, decent kind of way, and you
Mhm.
have to delight them, or else it's just going to get harder and harder for you to do business. And
Mhm.
this is very different from the way most salespeople have been taught to sell. It was not very long ago in our world's history when the internet was not there, right? And if a salesperson said, we have the best product in the industry, customer just kind of had to take their word for it. There was no way to check to see if that was actually true. And I think it's taking a long time for sales teams to understand just how much the world has changed. And I don't mean to paint this as a disadvantage to salespeople. The truth is, in this hyper connected world, a salesperson is a it can be a very valuable sort of guide to people as they're looking to buy things, right? If you are a salesperson, you should not see yourself as the person who has to convince this person to buy. You should see yourself as the expert in your industry, right? Because you have conversations with people who are all trying to solve the same sort of problem. And you have heard all the stories of the things they've tried that didn't work, or the things they tried that worked for a little while and then stopped working, or the things they tried that did work. You know how your product fits into that. And your customers, or your prospects as they come to you, they have read a whole bunch of stuff on the internet. They've done their research. They know all the products that are available, and they're just trying to understand how that applies to their situation. And you are so much more qualified than they are to understand that, because you've talked to so many people. And so salespeople, like, what I'm trying to convince the world to do is let go of this idea that your job is to convince someone to buy your product. Your job is to help them understand, because you have this expertise that they can't have, right? And so they're going to come to you, and they're probably going to expect you to try to trick them or to try to get money out of them. But if you can position yourself as an ally, and if you can say, hey, I'm here to help you, what challenges are you facing? What have you tried already that hasn't worked? And they tell you, then you can say, oh, yeah, I've heard that story from other people too. And what they found is that this actually works better. Or actually, oh, you know what? If you can, as a salesperson, if you can have the courage to say, oh, you know what, in your situation, our product isn't the best bet for you, you should probably do this other thing, then people will just be amazed at your honesty and your transparency. And even if they end up not buying from you, they will go tell their friends again, what an excellent experience I had with Kyle. He's like no sales rep I've ever talked to. I felt like he was my friend and he really cared about my success. And I ended up not buying from him. But if any of you are looking to buy vacuum cleaners or whatever Kyle sells, please talk to Kyle. He will not. He will tell you the truth, right? And that is the sort of transformation I'm trying to push. And so HubSpot has this philosophy at its core, and all of our software is built with this assumption in place. We want to build software that will empower you to have these really human interactions with the people you're doing business with, whether they're prospects because you're in sales, or customers because you're in customer support, or we have marketing tools if you're just trying to educate the world about what it is you offer. We really want to make it easy for you to do that in the best, most helpful, most genuine kind of way. And that's what HubSpot is all about. That philosophy and that software kind of put together into a single package.
Right. Awesome. I'm just going to shoot out to you a few questions that I tend to also get when I speaking about HubSpot, in terms of customization, and it's a yes, no matter your service business, because I deal primarily with service businesses. No matter your service business, it can be customized to suit your business. Integrations, yes, for example, WordPress, there is an integration more than likely you have to look for. So in terms of an entrepreneur being hesitant of saying yes to HubSpot, what would you say to them if you had just, let's say, 5 minutes to be able to say to them, hey, HubSpot is definitely the way to go for your service business?
Sure. Well, there's one thing that fundamentally makes HubSpot very different from other CRM offerings, especially if you look at other CRMs that have as broad of an array of we have marketing tools, we have sales tools, we have service tools, we have operations tools, we have website tools, we have all these things packaged
Mm,
together, and we are certainly not the only CRM company that does that. But something that makes us really different is we have built all those things ourselves, and we have crafted them to work together so that all those systems are seamlessly combined into a single package. Whereas kind of the standard way to build a CRM company is you build one piece of it and then you acquire companies to do the other ones and you sort of cobble it all together. And it kind of looks like a single system, but you start to have these weird pieces that don't always work the same, or you have to pay extra for add-ons to make it do what you thought it would do. Whereas HubSpot is just HubSpot, and that is HubSpot, and you get it and it just works, right? And so that's really what we pride ourselves on. But then to your point about integrations, we lean heavily into integrations because we understand no matter how great HubSpot is at what it does, there are other things your company does that we don't do, and we want to make that a good relationship, a good experience for you. And so we are very much in favor of making our integration system an easy one for developers to build on. And our marketplace of apps is rapidly growing. So to answer your question to that entrepreneur, who is I either if they're just getting started and they're trying to get their first CRM system, HubSpot is designed to just without any customization, just the standard setup to just work. We have reports that are ready to go for you. We make it very easy to add data or to import data. To get everything up and running will take you not very much time at all. And then if it turns out your business is for whatever reason it needs some sort of customization in HubSpot, the standard offering doesn't work, we make that as easy as possible. I'm not a developer at all. I don't know how to code. I don't know any of that stuff. But recently, I was doing a demo of HubSpot at an event I was speaking of, and someone wanted to see how you would track shipments inside of HubSpot. And that is not a standard thing in HubSpot, so I had to create a custom shipments option. And I recorded a video of myself setting that up before the event. It took me 8 minutes to create a shipments object and fully populate it with a bunch of shipment data, right? 8 minutes, and I'm not a coder. It was not a complicated process. It was just clicking buttons and setting it up, right? And that's sort of the HubSpot experience, right? We want everything to just work simply and straightforwardly. We want the interface you use to be clear and intuitive. And we have really put a lot of thought into making that as simple as possible for you, that entrepreneur, right? Or your sales team or whoever is using it. We just want it to be, we don't want you to feel like you're fighting with your CRM. The value of a CRM is only there if your sales team is recording their sales calls in it and your marketing team is
correct.
tracking their data in it. And we just want to make the system as easy as possible to use to make it easier for them to do that, right? Because if you have a fancy, expensive CRM system, but nobody's using it, then it's not going to be any value to you at all.
Exactly. That's an excellent point. It's only as good as what you put in and how you optimize it as well. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And Kyle, or some example as there with regards to the shipping company, but just to wrap up the conversation, I mean, in the Caribbean, we are experiencing some surges. Hopefully, we'll be over that with regards to the pandemic. But I know in the United States, things are opening up and coming back to life, which is awesome. How do you think, in terms of with COVID-19 impacting different businesses differently, and especially with entrepreneurs being the hardest hit at this time, um, how really is HubSpot making a difference to ensure that this is the right CRM for you, for your business?
Yeah, so I a couple of thoughts on that. One is, um, if you're an entrepreneur, you have a lot of expenses and things you're juggling, right?
Hmm.
And most CRM systems are very expensive. HubSpot has a free version. It's not a free trial. It is just a free version. It's free forever. And if you just need a CRM to use, you can sign up, get a HubSpot account, and start using it, and off you go. And you don't have to pay us anything. And that is just kind of our promise to you as an entrepreneur. We want to make that, we don't, your CRM shouldn't be an expense. It should be a source of value for you. And then of course, as you have more advanced needs, you can upgrade it in various ways.
Right.
But that free version is just always free. um, and just a sort of heartwarming story that really makes me proud to be at HubSpot. I Like I said, I've been at the company now 6 years. And early 2020, when the world started shutting down because of this pandemic, there was a lot of questions about what was HubSpot going to do, right? And a decision that our executive team made very quickly, and communicated to us internally, and then communicated externally just a couple days later, was that we really wanted to show up for our customers.
Hmm.
I mean, I just gave you a long speech about how inbound is all about building these human
Hmm.
relationships, and we really wanted to do that ourselves. And so we did a lot of things where we applied heavy discounts just automatically to customers across the board, and we, gave people more time to make payments, or we made it easier for them to downgrade to a lower system, a cheaper system, as opposed to canceling HubSpot altogether. And for 6 months or more, we did a lot of work, and invested a lot of money in helping our customers and our partners stay afloat. And that has turned out to be an excellent decision. They all
Hmm.
stuck with us, But I just share that to say, HubSpot we want to look out for you, right? We want you to succeed. Our mission statement as a company is to help millions of organizations grow better. And we are not at that millions mark yet, but we have 100,000 customers now, and we want to help you, right? And so if you come to us, we will do everything we can to help you as a company succeed. And then as part of that, we hope you'll stick around and be our customer long term. Um, but I feel like we have these ideals and this philosophy that we're
Correct.
not just preaching to the world, but we're trying to live as well.
Hmm.
And I can pretty confidently guarantee that if you sign up for HubSpot, if you get an account, if you start working with us, you will feel that, and we'll really do everything we can to help you in your entrepreneurial pursuits.
Great. Kyle, it has been awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Could you please tell everyone where they can look you up? I know for sure on LinkedIn. From time to time, I take a look at your videos. Awesome. And what I like to, it's short and it's very relevant, so I don't have to spend half my day looking at it. But I love your excitement. I love the HubSpot philosophy because in a service business, you have to be able to connect with people, and HubSpot helps you to achieve that. So that's why I'm sold on it, and I hope my customers as well. So please tell everyone where they can definitely connect with you if they want to learn more or just take a look at what it is you do as well.
Yeah, so LinkedIn is definitely my main place. I am very active there. I'm regularly posting videos and whatever helpful content I can. I'm Kyle Jepson, Jepson. I think it's a LinkedIn /in/ Kyle Anthony Jepson, just all smushed together. That's me. And if you send me a connect request, let me know you heard about me on this Open for Business podcast. I'm happy to connect with you, answer any questions you have, help you however I can. LinkedIn is the best place to find me.
Great. Awesome. Thanks so much, Kyle. I am Kimberly. Yet again, I just want to say I'm very appreciative of this, and we'll definitely be connecting soon. Take care.